What are your thoughts on melatonin? You know, a lot of
Oh,
people have switched from sleeping pills, and now I hear it's like I can't sleep without my melatonin. It's like, ooh, I don't
yeah,
want to hear that either. But I mean, I
yeah,
guess it's an improvement, but I want to hear what you think.
yeah. So it's a very hot topic in sleep. And I think that we need to, if we're going to use it, we need to be careful of the sourcing. They did a study, I think it was 2017, where they pulled different melatonin bottles off the shelves in Canadian drugstores and pharmacies, and they found a very wide variance
Hmm.
in what was listed on the label and what was actually in the product. So you could potentially have a melatonin that you think is 3 milligrams, it's 15, and then the person is groggy the next day. I do, to my knowledge, I do not believe there are any studies showing definitively that exogenous melatonin impedes your natural melatonin. I don't think we have really the data for that. So the argument about don't use melatonin because you won't make it, I don't think that's a really a legitimate argument. Um, but for me personally and my client base, if someone is over 50, I am not opposed at all for them trying to use melatonin, only because as we get into our 50s, our melatonin production starts to wane.
Hmm.
And so supplementing with just a little bit can actually be helpful for some people. And what I've been recommending for the past year is a plant melatonin called
Mm.
Herbatonin. And they've
Mm.
actually done head-to-head studies comparing it to synthetic melatonin, and they found there was like 400% more anti-inflammatory and antioxidant properties. It's made from just rice, chlorella, and alfalfa. So
Interesting.
I find that's I look at it as a very potent antioxidant versus necessarily like something for quote sleep. So I'm not opposed to use cases for melatonin in those scenarios where someone's
Yeah.
50 plus. But if you're 25, 30, there's probably not a real reason for you to have melatonin unless you have a circadian rhythm disorder or you're dealing with jet lag. Um, I think it's, overused, honestly, among people. And I think there's probably a big placebo effect with it.
Oh, yeah. It's comfort.
As with many supplements and medications. But it's a very divisive topic, I think, in the health field and the sleep field, and people have strong opinions, and I tend to kind of vacillate, but at this moment in time, I'm actually, pretty much a proponent of it for people 50 plus in smaller doses.
It's good to know. No, it's a really interesting subject when you see so many different studies, and I do agree with you. There are no studies that I know of, and I spoke with Dr. James D. Nicolantonio about this, who looked into it and was researching it, that there are no studies, even high doses of melatonin over time would stop your own production if you stop taking it. Nevertheless, like if you're using it as such a crutch and you're panicking because you don't have melatonin by your bedside, that's probably
Right.
not a good thing,
Right.
right?
Exactly. Yeah, it's a psychological crutch. And I think people need to understand that there are so many things we can do to encourage our natural melatonin production.
Absolutely.
Going back to that whole circadian rhythm alignment, if you're staying, if you're kind of avoiding blue light at night or bright lights at night and you're getting plenty of daylight exposure, those are great ways to just get your own melatonin kind of going, so that you may not feel the need to like delve into the exogenous melatonin.
Absolutely. I think that's where, people need to focus the most on getting their natural levels to where they need to be rather than trying to introduce things
Yes,
into their body. Our
yes,
bodies are already incredibly
yeah,
capable of helping us go
yes.
to sleep, regenerate, get into deep sleep. We're just impeding it. And it's not that we lack things from the outside to put in. It's just we lack the actions in a sense to get us to the proper state of where our bodies are in homeostasis.
Absolutely. Yeah, we need to really focus in on the behaviors and get like the way that I look at supplements overall is they can be useful to an extent, but you really need to work on the behaviors and the habits. Once you've really kind of maximized those, I think there's a use case for delving into the supplements, but you can't out supplement bad habits. It never works. I mean,
Hmm.
I've seen so many people, and I can just tell you that like your bad habits the supplements aren't going to do much if your daily habits are bad and you're, constantly in front of bright light at night and blue light and on your phone until midnight. It's not going to help so much if
It's in the word itself, supplement, right? It's supplemental to
yes,
everything else that are the foundations of your health. You could add that, and that's like a little tweak to your workout. But if you're not in the gym, you can't expect results, right? So
exactly.
it is something I feel like, again, people lean into a little too much without hitting the foundational pieces, which are just our everyday actions of being outside at certain times, getting light, stopping to do those mindfulness practices,